They say that every hunter dreams of chasing moose one day, but in Layton Lakes in Washington State, that dream comes with a twist. You only get one shot, one tag, one bull, one chance in your entire life. This isn't your average big game hunt. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, literally. Washington's moose draw is one of the rarest and most coveted tags in the Pacific Northwest, and if your name gets pulled, the clock starts ticking on a hunt that you'll never get to repeat. The stakes? Once you harvest a bull moose under the once-in-a-lifetime harvest restriction, you are excluded from any future moose tag permits. No pressure, right? Because moose populations are more limited in the lower 48 states, they want to maximize opportunity among hunters to give everyone a chance. It's also a way to help maintain genetic diversity, reduce that trophy-only harvest pressure as you don't want to miss out on bagging a bull of any size. On this hunt, I'm in Layton Lakes District chasing moose. I've just received email confirmation that my name was picked in the limited entry draw, and I have one chance to put a bull moose trophy above my fireplace. Before I set off on this moose hunt, I want to take a quick step back, because this journey really began a few weeks ago. I came to Layton Lakes with a mission to build my trophy cabin, one legendary bull at a time. It all started with this guy, a massive Roosevelt elk scoring just over 382 inches. Not just a great bull, but proof that Layton holds something truly special. But now, the focus shifts, a moose tag in my pocket, and feeling deep down that another giant is out there waiting for me. Moose tend to stick to the western part of the Layton Lakes Reserve, and that's exactly where I'm heading. Local hunting expert and part-time wilderness guide Paul Beatty has generously offered up the use of his cabin scattered across the Height and Peaks region. Paul's favorite animal on the reserve is the moose, and he's just as passionate about finding big bulls as I am. He's even drawn up a plan for my 3-day hunt. Day 1, I'll start in the southern hunting cabin in Winnipeg. I hear there's a beautiful lake that moose tend to frequent. Day 2, I'll follow the river north through Winnipeg, glassing the west side of the river, where Paul has another cabin tucked near a pristine lake. And on day 3, I'll finish the hunt in the moose-rich marshes near Chopeeka, staying in his final cabin just above the valley floor that evening before returning home to my trophy cabin. 3 days, 3 locations, 1 goal: to find a trophy bull worthy of this adventure. Paul recently sent me a photo of a massive moose shed that he found last season, and he's convinced the bull that dropped it made it through the winter. And if that's true, he'll be even bigger this year. When you receive a tag in Washington State, you can choose from 3 hunting methods: archery, muzzle loader, or modern firearm. For this hunt, I opted for the modern firearm. I didn't want to risk a strong wind sending an arrow off course or a misfire from the muzzleloader. If I only get one shot at a Layton Trophy moose, I'm not going to take any chances. I'm carrying a .375 H&H Magnum rifle from Valgarta Firearms Company, built for serious stopping power. A mature bull moose can weigh over 620 kilograms, nearly 1,400 pounds, and I want something that can drop one cleanly if the opportunity presents itself. One shot, that's all I get, so I better make it count. On the first day of my hunt, I set out north from the first hunting cabin to check out a small lake that's been known to draw in a moose or 2. It's an uphill climb, but it shouldn't take more than an hour to reach the summit. As I get close, I crouch down and slowly crest the ridge. I'm hoping the element of surprise is on my side. If there's a bull down by the water, I want the first look and maybe even the first shot. But when I reach the top and glass the lake, nothing. That's something they don't tell you about moose hunting. You'd think being the largest member of the deer species, they'd be easy to spot, but sometimes it just feels like you're looking for a needle in the haystack. So I hike back down toward the river and work my way toward the second cabin, glassing along the way. I do spot some moose. A few cows, a couple bulls, but nothing worth spending my tag on. A whole lot of walking and not much to show for it. I guess when Steve Rinella talks about the importance of a little bit of suffering at the start of a hunt, this is what he means. I reach the cabin, tired but hopeful. Maybe day 2 will be different. On the morning of day 2, I set out with a few bugles using my bull or moose collar. The view from this cabin overlooking the lake might just be one of the best in the entire reserve. My calls paid off, drawing in a small bull who wandered down to the water for a drink. He was curious, but not the one I was looking for. So I packed up and continued along the river, weaving through the timbers and sticking close to the trail as I made my way toward Chopeeka. The path offers some stunning views of the marshes and river valleys, and with a bit of luck, maybe a shot at the kind of bull worthy of being the one and only that I ever harvest in Washington State. As I made my way through the timberline just north of Winnipeg, I caught movement near the edge of a marsh. At first, I thought, was it the sun playing tricks on the willows? But then he stepped out, a piebald moose. His coat was a patchwork of deep brown and ivory white, like something out of a storybook. And look at those antlers. He was not a small bull. I've seen a lot of animals in my years hunting, but nothing quite like this. He stood still, almost as if he was watching me the way I was watching him. I raised my rifle. Then lowered it. In many indigenous traditions, piebald animals are considered sacred, messengers or omens from the spirit world. This was early in the hunt. Maybe this wasn't the moose I was meant to harvest. Maybe he was there to point me toward the one that I am meant to find. So I let him walk, hoping this rare encounter is the sign that I'm on the right trail. As day 2 winds down, I make the decision. For my final day of hunting, I'm going to change tactics. Set up a tripod deep in the tree line with a clear view of the river and marshes, and spend the day calling. 2 full days of chasing haven't led me to my trophy bull. Maybe it's time I let him come to me. I reach the cabin for one last night before the final hunt, and as I sit down by the fire, I can't help but wonder, did I make the wrong call letting that piebald walk? I guess I'll find out tomorrow. As I set out on my walk to the tripod I set up yesterday, I can't help but feel hopeful. I may not have laid eyes on any trophy bulls just yet, but that piebald moose was a sight I won't soon forget. I've likely been spreading my scent all over heightened peaks during my treks to the cabin, so today, staying put, calling, and letting the wilderness come to me might just be the remedy I need on this final day. As I approach the tripod, it's early morning and the day is absolutely beautiful. I picked a ridgeline with a clear view of the Chopeeka River with a stretch of marshland and timber laid out right in front of me. The fall colors at this time of year are truly something to behold. I'm settled in and getting into a groove and begin making periodic calls with the moose lore collar. It's said that a bull can hear loud thrashing or a deep grunt from about 500 meters away. If there are any bulls in the area, this setup might just be my ticket. So far, the collar and location seem to be paying off. I spot a small bull approaching from my left later in the afternoon. I've passed on a few similar sized bulls over the past couple of days, but with the clock ticking down on this hunt, he might just be the one. He may not be a trophy, but he'd fill the freezer and bring this trip to a satisfying close, if he sticks around. I catch movement through the timber. Something's approaching. It's a massive bull. When he steps out from behind the aspens, I'm staring at the biggest set of antlers I've seen all trip. His front shovels are thick and well-formed with sharp brow tines that really stand out. The rear palms are enormous, and the spread between them is just unreal. I'm going to keep calling and see if I can coax him into the clearing. If he gets within 150 meters, I just might get my chance. I get him close enough for a broadside shot, but a patch of spruce is blocking the lane. He gives a shake, showing off those massive antlers, and starts to move again. My first chance slips away. But then, just like I imagined, he steps into the clearing, the exact spot I was hoping to call him into from the start. He stops, giving me a perfect chance for a frontal shot. And just like that, he's down, only a few meters from where I took the shot. Look at the size of this absolute monster. I've seen my fair share of 300 scoring bulls, and while this one might not quite crack that mark, I'm confident he's pushing 275, maybe even more. Just look at those massive front shovels and the spread between the palms. This bull is a brute. After 3 long days of grinding, he's a sight for sore eyes, I can tell you that. Hard to believe this is one that I'm cashing my one and only moose tag on. But I couldn't be happier. He's going to look incredible mounted over my fireplace. Now it's time to get him quartered and packed out. This is going to take a few trips. There's a ton of meat on this mature bull. I'll be sending him off for official scoring and getting a shoulder mount done for the Layton Trophy Cabin. Every time I walk into that main room, this bull is going to be there to greet me with a smile and a story to tell. It's been a couple of weeks since the hunt, and now I get to enjoy what I think is the best part, eating. Moose meat is rich and hearty, with a beef-like flavor and just a hint of the wildness. It's much milder than other wild game like bear or antelope, and when cooked right, it's absolutely incredible. That was my delivery, and it's finally here. My moose mount has arrived. It's going to look incredible as the centerpiece above the stone masonry fireplace. He was a huge bull, but definitely not a record breaker, but still a trophy in his own right. With an official score of 280.3, he's what most hunters would call a diamond class bull. I couldn't be more happier with how this hunt came to an end. As I stand here, looking over my recent hunting successes, the trophy moose and the elk mounted with pride, something weighs heavy on my heart. I can't help but think of my grandpa. He would have loved this cabin, this journey, these hunts. But there's still something left unfinished, something he started long ago, and now it's time I see it through.